Welcome back to Schellenberger Field after a weekend away. It is time for a little more field hockey action on the true home turf. No more AstroTurf for Lynchburg, at least not for the remainder of this regular season, but we are looking forward to what should be a great matchup between Lynchburg, now ranked 17th in the country, taking on the visiting Stevenson Mustangs, coming into this one at a program best 6-2 start through 8 games. I am Sam Graham. Cannot wait to take you through now what is our 7th straight field hockey game brought to you on LHSN. We've been enjoying the heck out of it and hope you have as well. Again, should have a great one today. We got a pair of really solid offenses. Stevenson, especially on the defensive side, going to bring a lot to the table. Mustangs have allowed just 6 goals so far this season. Done that with a committee of goalkeepers that have all been very solid in the cage in the early going of this season, and we'll touch on all of that a little bit later. But as we start out our broadcast today, let's take a look at the ODAC standings at this point in time. You see Lynchburg there. Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon, the only ODAC game that has been played so far, but that's changing this week. Actually, today, as we speak, on Saturday, we'll really get into ODAC play. Bridgewater's going to take on Washington and Lee. Eastern Mennonite's going to take on Sweetbriar, Lynchburg, and Shenandoah. That'll be a big one that we'll talk about a little bit more throughout the broadcast, and a whole other host of ODAC games. Yeah, Lynchburg out to the 7-1, 1-0 start. They come into this one on a 5-game win streak. It is the third time since the start of the 2022 campaign that Lynchburg has achieved a 5-game win streak. So the 7-1 start, even an 8-1 with a win today. Really no strange feeling for Coach Enza Steele in her 45th career season at the head of this Lynchburg field hockey program. The last time we saw one another, Coach Steele was looking for win number 650. That was against Randolph-Macon. She did, in fact, pick up that all-important 650th win, now up to 652, and she is one of just 4 coaches across all divisions of NCAA field hockey that has ever reached that feat. As they get ready to trot out the starting lineups, we are going to take a quick break, but we will be back in just a moment with some of our players to watch, stats to keep an eye on, and more as we get ready for Lynchburg and Stevenson on LHSN.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting. Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting. Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting. Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Welcome back to Lakeside Drive. Mentioned a little bit of a weekend abroad. Lynchburg did not leave the Hill City, at least didn't get far. A neutral site game on the campus of Sweetbriar College where Lynchburg picked up its marquee win of the early season, knocking off number 7 then York. York has fallen to number 8 in the NFHCA poll, but still a top 10 ranking, and that is the big resume building win for the 7-1 Hornet program that vaulted up to 17th in the national standings, the national coaches poll, that is, after a 3-0 week. How about 3 games in 4 days? We had them all for you right here on LHSN, and I know the players as well as our LHSN staff enjoying a little bit of a break after that game against Center at Liberty on Sunday morning. As promised, we will run through some of the numbers coming into today's game. A pair of really solid offenses and a pair of defenses really starting to round into form. Mentioned Stevenson's allowed just 6 goals on the year coming into today. Now, look, that bottom part of this graphic, you're not going to see that very often throughout the rest of the season. 2 schools that come into today's game with goal against averages not only below 1, but well below 1. Lynchburg at .88. That's the lowest number since 2011. I also want to touch out the corners. Definitely keep an eye on that throughout the game. Lynchburg scored 4 of its 5 goals against Center on Sunday afternoon with the clock stopped. 3 of them off penalty corners and another one off the Hornets' first penalty stroke of the season. So we'll see if this game goes more defensive or offensive, but I guarantee you it'll start with the time of possession battle. That's been the key to victory for all of Lynchburg's opponents so far this year. The only team that's really started to crack it is the Hornets' one loss in Ursinus. Now we'll take a look at some of the players to keep a special eye on, though there will be a lot of key factors in today's game. And we're going to start with the visitors, and you don't have to look very far, you don't have to think very hard to come up with who is probably going to be the marquee offensive piece today for this Stevenson team. It's got to be Emma Gladstein, already cracked double digits in the goals department this year, 6 assists as well for a total of 26 points. Of note, with 1 goal, she will crack the single season all-time top 10 list for Stevenson single season points. On the other side, Marlou Vendricks, our Week 4 ODAC Player of the Week. And who else could it have been? Vendricks had herself a heck of a week last week, putting up 4 goals and 2 assists in that 3-0 record for Lynchburg on the week. Now turning to look inside the goal. We weren't sure who we might see today. It could have been Jordan Vredenberg. It could have been Eve Vickery. It will be Vickery. She got the start to start the season. Vredenberg has started the past 2 games, but both goalkeepers give a great boost to the Stevenson team. And finally, on the other side for Lynchburg, it will be Kayla Brady, whose .85 goal against average through the first 8 games this season is a career high, now in her 3rd year as the starter in cage for Coach Steele's squad. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will have the start of Stevenson and Lynchburg for you right here. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Field Hockey on LHSN. Well, fans, it's time to get excited for Lynchburg field hockey today, but it's also time to get excited for Lynchburg's 2023 homecoming. We have 2 super fun days planned for students, faculty, staff, alumni. Parents can get in on the action too. That is all beginning Friday, October 20th. You can also join us in honoring our 2023 Hall of Fame class for an induction ceremony and dinner the Friday before. That'll be October 19th in Turner Gym at 7 p.m. Afterwards, you can also meet the men's and women's basketball teams. They'll be taking part in their annual Midnight Madness. That's always a great time. A pair of basketball teams really looking to put put together improved seasons here in 23-24. Young teams last year that should be pretty good in the upcoming campaign. Then on Saturday, Schellenberger Field will be the place to be, as it always is. I mean, come on, even when there's not a game going on, get out here and play some spike ball or something. We'll have 5 games right here beginning at 9 a.m. Women's lacrosse alumni game will kick things off, going all the way to 7 p.m. when men's soccer takes on Guilford in some ODAC action. And don't forget, stop by the Liberty Natatorium if you get a chance, because the swim team is swimming against Bridgewater at 12:30. For more information and tickets to the Hall of Fame dinner, please visit www.connect.lynchburg.edu/homecoming-23, or just do an internet search for Lynchburg Homecoming 2023. That'll probably be a little bit easier. Now, as we get ready for this game between Mustangs and Hornets, let's take a look at our starting lineups coming into today. First, for Stevenson, it will be Emma Gladstein, who we already mentioned, our player to watch. She will get the start at forward. She will be joined by Monica Druckmiller, Macy Kasanovich, Haley Palmer, Sarah Bisson, Lauren Scholes, Annie Ingersoll, Emily Rankin, Nicole Ziegler, Riley Leaquay, and of course in goal, it will be Eve Vickery. Then for Lynchburg, again, pretty much business as usual with one small asterisk. It'll be Kayla Brady in goal, joined by Kanye Mazizi, the fantastic freshman, Danielle Kuhn, Mallory Lamb, Renee Ventile getting her second straight start, Riley Cameron, Olivia Muir, Marlu Vendricks, Kessa Schaefer, Madison Mark, and Erin Boatwright. Start just off schedule, 4:31, but right on time. Lynchburg, it's earliest midweek game of the 2023 season so far, 4:30 slated start time today on an overcast day in Lynchburg. Director Josh today was saying I had ESPN stats, but I'm going to go ahead and give them to you. Lynchburg 3-0 playing in the afternoon this year, and 2-0 when playing during the weekday. That's Monday through Friday, and that's what we got for you today, so that certainly bodes well for Lynchburg. And a pair of teams that know how to get out to a fast start. Two teams combined, 34-4 is the first half score over their opponents through the first 8 games of this season. A 19-2 disparity for Lynchburg. A 15-2 disparity for Stevenson, who is off and rolling in the second season under their second-year head coach, Morgan Bidding. We'll get to her a little bit more later in the broadcast, but a 2019 graduate of Duke, of course a proud field hockey program there the Blue Devils have. It was a 7-11 campaign in 2022, our first year at the helm, and a win today would already tie her at that 7-win mark just 9 games into the year. But even if it doesn't come today, a 6-2 start, she has this Stevenson team off and running before we even get into MAC Commonwealth play. It's a Mustangs team that has missed the last couple seasons of that postseason tournament. They got a leg up in trying to get back there this year. It's Lynchburg trying to establish the first offensive possession. Kessa Schaefer in there. Picked up her first goal of the season against Center on Sunday. How about one of 12 different Hornet players to score over the past 4 games? 13 have scored in this 5-game win streak Lynchburg's on. First possession goes sour for the Hornets. I mentioned time of possession, and I'll mention it till I'm blue in the face this year. That's been the key to success for Coach Steele's squad. Been out shooting their opponents 21-5, roughly, over this 5-game win streak, and really have just found their identity. And that makes sense. I mean, getting out to this 7-1 start, you would imagine that team is playing some pretty good field hockey, and that's what Lynchburg's done. Mazizi takes one on the chin there from Lauren Scholes. Lauren Scholes, a member of that great Stevenson defense today. First-year defender out of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Stevenson out of Owings Mills, Maryland. They have been bouncing back and forth between Owings Mills and wherever their opponents reside. Only longest home streak so far this season, or home stand I should say, is 2. Their longest road trip of the year will be 3, but that's not, it will be 2 as well, but that's not until the very end of this year's campaign. So just sort of back and forth. Stevenson goes, can't get quite too comfortable. We've mentioned several times this year how fast this field hockey season goes by. I mean, you're playing close to 20 games in less than 2 months, and then it's time for the conference tournaments. Foul goes against Stevenson, a team that comes into today only giving up about 16.5 infractions per contest. Lynchburg almost double that coming in. If you want to find one weaker spot of this Lynchburg team, I guess it would be the fouls, but you look at all the speed this Lynchburg team has. Sometimes it's just a byproduct of having that athleticism. Trying to get out in space is Vendricks. 7 goals on the year as she tries to feed ahead to Mark, I believe. It's poked away. Trying to take it away is Stevenson. Looks like Macy Kasanovic. Senior attacker getting in on the defensive end. It's going to be a whole team effort trying to stop a Lynchburg offense that has put some oil in its offensive gears. They are off and rolling on that side of the ball. Zizzy puts on the brakes, turns, fires, didn't get a whole lot behind that shot, and it's kicked away. Should be the first save of the day for Vickery in goal. Mentioned this would be the 6th start of the year for Vickery, but she has not made the past 2 starts. That would be first year Jordan Vredenberg, and she's looked good in goal as well. Vredenberg a 2-1 record. Vickery responsible for the other 5 games, 4-1 is her mark in the cage. Trying to feed that one ahead of everybody. It goes through both Ventile and Mallory Lamb for Lynchburg, and now it's up ahead with Gladstein. Trying to get away from Riley Cameron. That's not an easy task. Cameron's going to slow down the fast break for Stevenson. Joked with Cameron following that center game. She got to rest a little bit in the second half of that 5-0 decision, Lynchburg's 4th shutout of the season. Said, it's got to be nice to get a rest every now and then. You don't come out of the game very often. She just laughed and said, yeah, well, it goes with the territory. Senior center back for Lynchburg, a great career so far. Career high 2 assists. Getting in on the offensive action. Usually the recipient of those penalty corners, and Lynchburg had a season-high 12 against center. Here's Boatwright trying to get out in space. She makes a move past Palmer. Looking for a cross. Vendricks is in there and can't corral it before it goes out of bounds across the goal line. Boatwright just ran out of real estate. It's been interesting as Vendricks' game has really picked up in the last several outings. Boatwright has not gotten a shot off in the last 2 games. She had a fantastic start to the year, and I'm sure if you ask her, most important piece is Lynchburg getting the win. That's what they've been doing lately. She led the team in pretty much every offensive category through the first 5 or so games of the year. A mini dry spell, but I'm sure she will get out of it. First year of her career. Now, I don't just mean collegiate career, field hockey career that Boatwright has played up here on the left wing. She corrals a long feed ahead from Mazizi in that left corner. Mazizi crosses it to Ventile. Ventile a crossover and banks it in off of the goalkeeper. It bounces off Vickery's mitt and into the back of the goal. Ventile, her first career goal, puts Lynchburg on top early. Ventile getting her 2nd consecutive start. Take a look at it again. You see the crossover and then lining one up. I could be wrong. It might have glanced in off that far right post, but first glance, it did look like it bounced off that padded glove that Vickery is wearing. End of the day, it doesn't matter. Lynchburg a 1-0 advantage early. As their 20th first half goal of the year. Still just allowed 2 in the first 2 frames. Looking quickly to add another one. Vendricks with a little bit of space to work. Moving now to her left. She pops the ball up on her stick, a couple dribbles. Now a battle for it on the ground. Turns it back over to Stevenson, giving defense there. Looks like was Emily Rankin. Not always easy to slow down Marlou Vendricks. Again, the Week 4 ODAC Player of the Week. Second Hornet to receive Player of the Week honors this year. Aaron Boatwright took it in Week 1. Long feet ahead for Riley Cameron. Sends it back the other way, trying to flip the field. Boatwright was ready if it snuck by, but it did not. Stevenson feeds near side to Rankin, unable to track that one down. Turns it back over to Lynchburg. Out of bounds on the near sideline where Mazizi keys it back in. Mazizi guarded by two Mustang defenders trying to get out of trouble. Foul does go against Stevenson. Looked like fraction against Paige Wilson into the game. Didn't make the start as Ventile shoots one, but it was outside of the semicircle. She was looking to go ahead and line up goal number 2 or maybe assist number 1, but nobody else was in the box, and she was a little too far away from the goal. So we sprint through this first quarter of action. Already almost 10 minutes gone by. Diving on the ground for it for Lynchburg, I believe, was Madison Mark. Then the shot comes from Kessa Schaefer. We will stay on this end of the field. It'll be reset by Ventile at the blue line. Goes in between the legs of Brenna Benson. Already seeing a couple reserves into the game for Coach Bidding's squad. Relatively pretty deep roster for Stevenson here. They got some room to work to get everybody involved. Same goes for Lynchburg. Stevenson has it right now, looking for the cross. Rankin ran out in front of it. She is able to go back and corral it. Micah Uchis into the game for Lynchburg, as is Olivia Van Meter. Looking for somebody to pass it into was Lauren Scholes, and ends up passing it over to Kessa Schaefer. Lynchburg trying to get out and run. Van Meter was looking for the pass. Looked the wrong way. It's sent back the other way by Stevenson. Haley Palmer ending another Lynchburg fast break opportunity. So we've seen both teams try to get out and run a little bit in the early going. That's the one time we really saw Gladstein get out with some space. Stevenson, long feet ahead of that Lynchburg midfield, tried to set something up in transition. Now far side, it's Emma Hiddle into the game. So wasting no time as Stevenson getting some substitutions into the action. Long feet ahead for Van Meter. She has Boatwright to her left. 2-on-1 plus the goalie. Cross to Boatwright. Diving save made by Vickery. What a play by the senior in goal. Great anticipation. Knew right where Boatwright and that ball were going to be. Puts a stop to that dangerous situation for the Stevenson defense. Their senior goalkeeper bails them out. Vickery out of Pasadena, Maryland. 4th year in the program. Ball gets away from everybody. We'll roll. Yep, we'll roll across far sideline out of bounds. Stays with Lynchburg. Mallory Lamb sends it back in. Battle between Mazizi and maybe Jenna Theron at midfield. Long feet ahead. Aiming for Boatwright. Instead of foul going against the Hornets. She was contested for it by Lauren Scholes. Scholes has been active early on in this game. Couple of defensive saves already on the year. This is a Stevenson team comes in with 13 defensive saves. Essentially assists for the goalkeeper. That's a bit uncommon. Huey leads the way in that department. That is Megan Huey. Did not get the start today. 5'2" senior out of Sykesville, Maryland. She's got 5 stops on the year. So it's defense by committee for the Stevenson team, who's now really setting up its first offensive possession in the half court, if you want to call it that, half field. Trying to keep it on that end with a good whack of the stick was Riley Leakway, second leading scorer on this Stevenson squad. Assist or goal would carry her over 10 points for the year. Micah Uchis whistled for the foul. Nope, looks like it goes against Gladstein and Stevenson instead. Gladstein went off and running with that ball and got whistled. Had to give it on back to Lynchburg. Zizzy this time going to be called for the foul. Looked like she was going after the stick of Emily Rankin rather than the ball there. And as we roll towards 60 seconds to go, 4:45 p.m. Clock has stopped only once in this first quarter. Haven't had a penalty of any sort yet. 4 shots for Lynchburg. None yet for Stevenson. They're spending a little bit of time on this right side of the field here towards the end of this first quarter. Trying to turn and shoot. Didn't get much of that one. Cameron breaking it up. But that will afford us our first penalty corner of the day. It'll be Stevenson that takes it. Mustangs average just south of 7 set-piece attempts per game. So Lynchburg an edge in that department. Stevenson only took a handful, only 4. Last game out against Immaculata. It was a 3-0 decision. 4th shutout for Stevenson on the year. So both of these defense shutouts in the first half of their 8-game slates coming into today. This one on the penalty, keyed in with 37 seconds to go. They pass near side to Leakway. She takes the shot, kicked away by Brady. She records her first save of the past 2 games. First shot for Stevenson comes with less than 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Micah Uchis trying to send it back away for Lynchburg. It's going to be taken with 11 seconds on the right half of the field. Not a whole lot of urgency here from Lauren Scholes and Stevenson, so they may be content to play keep away from Lynchburg and get to the break with a 1-0 deficit. That is exactly what will happen. Horn sounds. 0-0s on the board, and the first quarter is in the past. Second quarter on tap, but Lynchburg tacks on another first half and first quarter goal. They continue the hot starts they've been getting out to all season long, and they take the 1-0 advantage after the first 15. Take a look there at the fearless leader of this Lynchburg field hockey program. Who else? Enza Steele, one of the winningest coaches in field hockey, collegiate field hockey history. One of just 4 coaches across all 3 divisions to reach 650 wins. She did it just a couple of days ago on this very field. A win over Randolph-Macon. And now looking for number 653, trying to improve Lynchburg to 8-1 on the year. On the other side, we've mentioned her a little bit already, Morgan Bidding in her second season at the helm of this Stevenson program, trying to turn things around. It's a 7-11 record in her first campaign last year, 2022, but already a 6-2 start, a program best through the first 8 games of this 2023 campaign. Bidding a 2019 graduate of Duke. She spent 3 years, 3-year starter there, 4-year letter winner. Helped the Blue Devils reach a Final Four and an Elite 8 appearance. Has spent a little bit of time in the ODAC post-grad too, an assistant for a season at Randolph-Macon. And came to Stevenson after 2 years as an assistant at Division I Delaware. Seems to have the rebuild off and running here in just her second campaign. Schaefer, a chopping shot, is wide to the near side. That is Schaefer's near side, not ours. If either team scores in the second quarter, it'd be a little bit of history for you. Neither of these teams have allowed a second quarter goal yet this year. Stevenson a 7-0 advantage in the second, Lynchburg 9-0. So to say these two teams get out to fast starts, we already touched on, would be a little bit of an understatement. Battle for it on the far side. 2 Hornets, 1 Mustang battling for it. They both avoid the foul. It will be taken away by Lynchburg. Danielle Kuhn has it in the far corner. She turns it back over to Stevenson. Looks like Stevenson forcing the turnover was Haley Palmer. Another one of the fantastic defensive pieces for Coach Bidding's squad. Trying to force it ahead into the semicircle was Kessa Schaefer. That attack broken up by Stevenson, but right back into the circle we go. Olivia Van Meter trying to feed it on the cross. Might have been looking. She had Vendricks and Boatwright. Both options there inside. A couple occasions already early on today. Lynchburg trying to feed the ball to Aaron Boatwright. 6 goals on the season. It's a career high for her. Ball ping-pongs around near the midfield line. Now swings near side to Olivia Muir. Lynchburg once again playing with a lead. Other than the Ursinus game, Lynchburg in its 7 wins this year has never trailed. Against Ursinus, it never led. Stevenson coaches urging their defenders to mark up Micah Uchis on the near sideline. She tries to thread the needle in there to Boatwright or Van Meter inside. Van Meter's been active last pair of games and early on again today. But these clubs do a good job of using the most of their rosters that they can. And I mentioned as Lynchburg's going to earn its first penalty corner of the day. And I mentioned, this Lynchburg team got the luxury of, really digging into the bench in the second half against Center this past Sunday. And I talked to Anna Dorstein following Saturday's win over then number 7 York. She said, the legs are tired. It's been 2 games in 3 days, and that was before that third game in 4 days against Center. So good job by Lynchburg getting out ahead in the early going. Mentioned they used the penalties to do so. First penalty stroke of the year was taken in that game. On this particular corner, Cameron swings one inside to Schaefer. Stevenson makes it not even one and done. Lynchburg doesn't get a shot off. Though the Hornets do own a 7-1 shot advantage through roughly 19 minutes of this game. Come near side, Scholes works it ahead. It is corralled relatively easily with some space to work with is Gladstein. She has a teammate up ahead trying to track it down but can't get there quite in time. Logan Beatty out ahead, Brenna Benson out ahead. That makes a little more sense. Beatty, a junior defender. It is 5'11" versus 5'4" Brenna Benson, sophomore midfielder, yeah. Makes a little more sense. It was Benson down there looking for the feed, but again, that pass little in front of her and goes out of bounds. Right back on the attack, though, is Stevenson. Starting to rack up a little more time on this right side of the field. That hadn't translated to the shots department just yet, though. Kind of look at this field hockey game as a tri-faceted affair. And first things first, you're talking about a recipe to win. You want to spend as much time putting pressure on the opponent's defense as possible. Next thing's next, turning that time into shots and shots on goal. Test the goalkeepers themselves. And finally, you hope you can get a few snuck past those goalkeepers, and that's ultimately the difference maker. So all those shots you can get up, end of the day, they don't matter a whole lot if you aren't efficient with them. Lynchburg back on their attacking portion of the field. Fontiel trying to track this one down, your lone goal scorer in today's contest. First career goal for Fontiel. She was looking ahead into the semicircle again on that occasion, but pass gets away from everybody. Credit to Stevenson so far, even though they do face a 7-1 shot disadvantage for the most part. Done a good job defensively, limiting these Lynchburg attacks to one and done. Even if they don't clear it all the way past the midfield line, Lynchburg isn't getting 1, 2, 3 shots off consecutively and close. Best example of that's limiting the Hornets to just one penalty corner so far, and on that corner, Hornets didn't even get a shot off. So credit to the Shenandoah defense. They understand the assignment so far. Now they're going to have to generate some pressure on the other side of the field as well. Muir takes it away, works it ahead to Dorstein. She dribbles through her defender's leg. She's got Van Meter ahead of her, but has it taken away. Good to play defensively. Again by number 9, Haley Palmer. Palmer and Scholes active on the defensive side. Haven't seen Huey yet in this game. I'm scanning the field for her right now. Don't see her on the sideline either. Battle for it on the near side. Taking it away is Druckmiller. Druckmiller. Scooping shot sent up. Second save of the day for Kayla Brady. She was standing there ready for it. So no signs of rust in the early going for Lynchburg's senior goalkeeper. Pair of experienced ladies in each cage here this afternoon. Brady was not tested against center. He's only tested a handful of times against York. He's come out here and both of Stevenson's shots placed on frame, and Brady batting them down without batting an eye. Stevenson again takes it away near midfield. On-ball pressure continues from the Mustangs, but Fontiel, here we go. Vendrick's out in space, coming out of the goal and kicking it away. Could have been bad news if Vickery had missed or whiffed on that kick, but she does not. Sure-footed and clears that ball away and out of harm's way for the Stevenson defense. Had Marlou Vendricks bearing down on her. Another Lynchburg offensive attacker to her left. Stevenson trying to get out of their backfield. Druckmiller swings it near side to Emily Rankin. Blanketed by a pair of Hornet defenders. She just slaps it ahead. I believe this will be Lynchburg. No, we'll stay with Stevenson. We're going to get a lot of substitutions into the game. Druckmiller comes out. Bailey Rucker comes in. Muir breaks that one up. Pass was intended for Macy Kasanovich. Here we go again with Schultz. Her pass broken up by Mzizi. Mzizi splits a pair of Stevenson defenders. Freshman out of Zimbabwe, often the fastest player on the field. Man, those international players, they almost kicked it into a whole other gear. Lynchburg's 2-game halfway road trip, neutral site games, getting the chance to play on AstroTurf. As Coach Steele said, it's what they've grown up playing on since they were 5-6 years old. AstroTurf's where they're comfortable, and this season's been a little bit of a learning curve, she said, for them, adjusting to the turf here on Schellenberger Field. Ball doesn't fly around quite as quickly, and we saw that on a few occasions. Lynchburg had slightly higher uptick in passes getting away, but we'll hold on that point. Dora Stein looking to feed it inside. She has Boatwright in close, still battling for it. Vickery's on the ground. Ball scoots away and a defensive save made. Whole lot of commotion close to the goal. Might go down as a block. Lynchburg's 8th shot of the day with just under 5 minutes to go. That was their best look at goal number 2. But still a blank sheet on the scorecard, both sides through this second quarter. So our score presently holds at 1-0 Lynchburg. Six shots placed on frame by these two teams combined as Cameron stops that fast break. Behind her, it was only Olivia Muir and Macy Kasanovich. Cameron says, This time it's Danielle Kuhn that attempts to break it up and does. She tries to corral it. Splits a pair of defenders. Becoming a little bit of a theme here early. Lynchburg firm with the stick skills. Dorstein balances on the near sideline. She swings it inside. Taking that one maybe on the hand was Palmer. Might have missed her. Might have hit the stick. Doesn't seem like she's shaking it off. Or maybe she's just tough cookie. It will be Palmer to send this one back in. Reset in her own backfield. 3:30 to go in the first half. Stevenson surrenders the early goal. Renee Fontiel, her career first, but since then, it's been all about the goalkeepers and the defense. Stevenson trying to get out on the fast break. Lynchburg, for the most part, stopping them. 4 saves for Vickery, 2 a pair for Kayla Brady. And you see, again, Muir and Cameron especially hanging a little bit further back than we've seen them at times, anticipating some of the speed from Stevenson. I mean, we've seen games where it's become evident early on that Lynchburg has an advantage in the athleticism department, and you see Cameron and that back defensive line cheat up a little bit on offensive possessions. Not as much the case today. A little bit more of a prevent defense for Coach Steele. Madison Mark and Aaron Boatwright combining to keep that ball on this side of the field. And Stevenson trying to get out of it. Mzizi again breaks up a pass. I'm telling you, I'm going to start keeping track of those. She's got to be averaging 5 or 6 PBUs to make a football reference per game. Almost everywhere on the field at once. Also recorded her second career goal in that 5-0 win over Center. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Ball on the far side. Gladstein, who's been largely quiet in there, giving a little bit of defense, but now the ball staying on this Lynchburg side of the field. Hornets right about on pace in the shot department with what they've been averaging over this win streak. They turn it over via a foul on this occasion back to Stevenson, who continues to keep Lynchburg from stacking those shots up. I'd venture to say they've had as many Lynchburg possessions where they haven't allowed the Hornets to take a shot as they have possessions where Hornets have gotten one. Thorstein keeps it on this end of the field. Stevenson trying to poke it away. She has to work backwards to Kuhn. Kuhn trying to outrun her defender. She doesn't really have anywhere to go. Going to try to balance along the far end line. It goes out of bounds, and official signals turnover back to Stevenson. Nope. Stand corrected. Stevenson forced that one out, so Lynchburg resets at the blue line. But this time, I think I know who's going to take the ball. Is Allie Freeman's pass. She's unable to connect with Kuhn on the near side. Ball rolls out of bounds, and with now less than a minute to go, we'll see how adventurous Stevenson is trying to get out of their own backfield. At the end of the first quarter, we saw them just kind of play keep away. Yeah, it looks like that's what they're going to do again here. So don't really want to take any chances, but on the flip side, a Lynchburg defense that's so opportunistic is there you see it with 22 seconds to go. They turn it over near sideline. Lynchburg now very close to the Stevenson goal. Yeah, count on the Hornets to be a little more aggressive here. Kuhn looking for a pass. Tries to go inside for Mazizi. High stick whistled against Stevenson, but that's probably going to take us to the end of the first half. Hornets not going to get a shot off, so didn't have quite enough time left on the ticker before we hit the half. And hit the half we have. No change in our score, a 0-0 affair through that second quarter of action. So, pair of streaks continue. Stevenson and Lynchburg still both have not let up a goal in the second quarter, and we'll have to wait for the second half to see if we get any more scoring in this game. A second quarter dominated by the defenses and the goalkeepers. We'll recap it for you all here in just a moment when we talk about the halftime show on LHSN.
I am a first-generation college student. I applied to 16 universities, and I actually had decided on going to a different university. But doing FAFSA and everything on my own, and the need for good credit with the Parent Plus loan and everything like that, my plans kind of fell through. I just couldn't give up hope. So I'm wrestling through this like shoebox I have full of like acceptance letters and financial aid letters. And I got my financial aid reward letter, and I also received scholarships from the school, and it was, the most affordable for me. They were excited to work with me. Financial aid really helped me out a lot with getting that situated. And I've just considered it a blessing ever since to go from 1 week not knowing whether or not I had to stay home for a year, and then the next week, knowing that this is where I'm going. It was meant to be, and obviously I consider this place my home, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund. There would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. And so there's a lot to be thankful for, and it's definitely the people that donate. And like I said, Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and you do the same thing. For a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
We have hit the half on a overcast 67-degree afternoon in the Hill City. Not a bad day for some field hockey. Of course, it would be nice if the sun made a little appearance for the second half, but don't think that we will get so lucky. But we have been pleased with the product on the field so far. A barn burner through the first half of this one. A 1-0 Lynchburg lead as we have hit the half. Hornets looking to extend their win streak to 6. Stevenson looking to continue a program best start to the year. 7-2 again would be a program best mark. But we'll look at some of our stats here as we have hit the break. Again, just the one goal, and Lynchburg owning the shots department as well. 8, placing 5 of them on goal. Stevenson's gotten off a pair, but both on frame, both testing Kayla Brady, keeping her active after that center game in which she was faced with 0 attempts on the goal. 4 saves made by Eve Vickery in goal for Stevenson. 2, again, made by Brady. Both of the attempts blocked by the senior goalkeeper for Lynchburg. Only 1 penalty corner apiece, a total of 2. We flew through that first half. Clock only stopped 3 times. Again, once for each penalty corner and once for the goal. And the fouls, right about on season averages. Stevenson a little bit higher, so they're conforming sort of to this Lynchburg pace of play. Again, 16 and a half roughly fouls per game on the year for the Mustangs. They've already almost hit that number through just one half of play. 18 is almost exactly on pace for Lynchburg through the first 8 games of the year. It was Renee Funtiel scoring her first career goal in her second career start. She continued this slew of really everybody on the roster getting in on the action for Lynchburg. Marlu Vendricks and Kessa Schaefer each got off a pair of shots, as did Erin Boatwright. So after 2 games in which Boatwright did not record a shot, she got off a pair of them in the first half today. Lynchburg looking to get her active offensively. And on the other side, those 2 shots for Stevenson. One was taken by Riley Leakway, the second leading scorer for the Mustangs. The other by Brenna Benson off of the bench. We will take one more break. Got about 3 minutes to go before this halftime is over, and we can get the third quarter underway. And one more time, you are watching field hockey on LHSN. Lynchburg leads it 1-0. That was my bad.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and you do the same thing. For a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
Players about ready to go. 10 seconds until we get things underway in the second half. A 1-0 Lynchburg score after the first 30 minutes of play. This one's gone pretty much as we expected it to. We knew it would either be a defensive struggle or a shootout. So far it has been the former. As we get this second half underway, we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for each team. We'll start for Stevenson. It's about to get a lot tougher, starting with today's game, of course, against Lynchburg, who's ranked 17th in the country. But up next, it'll be Mary Washington. That will be a game played in Owings Mills, Maryland. Then it'll be a road trip to number 3, Johns Hopkins. And then Mac Commonwealth play will commence with Albright, October 7th. A noon start for that one. On the Lynchburg side of things, conference play is right around the corner as well, and it's also heating up on this Lynchburg portion of the schedule. They will play number 19 Shenandoah, a true road test. That one will be first time on the road in a little bit for Lynchburg. Then Virginia Wesleyan and another road trip to Washington and Lee, the preseason number 2 pick in the ODAC coaches poll. Washington and Lee got off to a little bit of a slow start, starting to get things back in motion though. 3-4 as we speak right now. But rest assured that will be a test, a rematch of last year's ODAC title game, which was also played in Lexington. Sort of just the unluckiness of the draw, if you want to put it that way, for this Lynchburg team. So they play each of the other 2 top teams in the ODAC in Shenandoah and Washington and Lee, both of them on the road. Those 3 teams separated by just 2 points in that preseason coaches poll. This one lofted up into the front of the field. Stevenson trying to set something up offensively in the early going. It'll stay on this end of the field. And Lynchburg quickly collapsing in the back corner. Rolls out of bounds, reset at the blue line here for Stevenson. A hard swing of the stick from Sarah Bisson. Now battle for it between Kessa Schaefer swings back over near side for Bisson. Stevenson, it was Lynchburg that initially took possession. Stevenson's kept it on this half of the field. They do so again right here. A nice little spin move. Haley Palmer again breaking up Lynchburg's effort to get out in transition. This time it's Mazizzi running away from Palmer and everybody. Sidestep, and she gets past Bisson. She's got Boatwright to her left. The cross is on the money. Can Boatwright corral it? First shot, second shot, third shot, no. 3 opportunities for Lynchburg. None of them find home. We'll stay on this end of the field. We've seen Lynchburg get out in space a little bit more than we have in the early portion of this schedule. Take a look at it again. It's again Vickery anticipating where the ball is going to go, diving on the ground, but then that second opportunity, there's nobody in goal. Lynchburg just puts the shot wide. Good opportunity for the Hornets. They get 2 more shots off officially. Carry them over the 10-shot number now in the game, but Stevenson defense continues to hold strong. This one feeling a little bit like the Randolph-Macon contest from last Thursday. Hornets scored in the first and second quarter of that one as well, and then ran into a brick wall called the Randolph-Macon defense in the second half. Valentina Ambrogi-Torres, last week's ODAC Player of the Week. She had a double-digit save game in that one. Lynchburg did ultimately come out on top. Randolph-Macon outscored the Hornets 1-0 in the second half. Stevenson pulls off a similar feat. That'll send us to overtime. We haven't seen that yet this year for Lynchburg. Last overtime game was the ODAC title game last year, where Lynchburg dropped a 1-0 decision to Washington and Lee. Schaefer threads the needle between her defender's legs, looking for Mark, but Mark sends it out of bounds. Again, it goes out of play off of the leg of Mark that time. Sent back in by Bisson. Works it ahead, now taken away by Muir. Trying to run away from Kasanovic. Kasanovic kind of stands her up right near midfield, and now Stevenson immediately off and running. Ventil. She's got a long reach, going to win that matchup more often than not against Emma Gladstein. Gladstein standing at 5'2". Ventil on the other side at 5'9". Here we go again. Mazizi with Boatwright with Van Meter. And it will be Van Meter credited with the score this time. She sent the pass into Boatwright. Boatwright is going to get the assist. And Olivia Van Meter, first goal of the season. So it's Mazizi to Boatwright to Van Meter. Let's take a look at it again. Mazizi outruns everybody. And then to Boatwright. I'm not sure if that was intended to be a shot or a pass. I mean, she put it right to Van Meter, but Van Meter didn't seem to be expecting it. Don't worry about it. Still find the back of the cage. And there is goal number 2 for Lynchburg. Looking for their 5th shutout of the day. And the number now on this win streak is 15 different Hornets recording a goal. I mean, we can just go down the roster at this point. It's now right at half the team, including a pair of defenders, several midfielders have gotten in on the scoring action, helping Lynchburg try to get out to a 6-game win streak. We've seen it from Mazizi, seen one from Marlu Vendricks, more than one. Kessa Schaefer, Madison Mark, Aaron Boatwright, Sar Prinz, Riley Weinfordner, Renee Funtil today, Brooke Highland, Anna Dorstein, Micah Uchis, Lauren Mark, Olivia Van Meter now as of today, Jenna Tangiers, Lisanne Vanterweich. I mean, it's becoming almost laughable just how deep this Lynchburg team is. It's one thing to have depth and have players that can, just keep you in the game. Lynchburg has players that can extend the lead. And that's not just the field position players either. That extends to inside the cage. All 3 goalkeepers for Lynchburg have been fantastic this year. Obviously, Brady has gotten the start in every contest, but Samira Garavi and Shai Skoons have combined to stop 8 of the 9 shots they've faced. And they've approached almost a full game of collective time spent in goal. Brady tested, steps out of the frame. Not sure she'll get the official stop there because it doesn't look like it's an official shot for Stevenson. They do apply a little bit of pressure. Stevenson, they're not going to lie down. It's a much improved team from the 2022 group that fell to Lynchburg. And that was a pretty tightly contested game as well, 2-1 final. So although the end result, the end record wasn't necessarily what Stevenson was looking for, not like they were just getting blown out every game by any means. Competitive team pretty much from day one of Morgan Bidding's tenure. An even 13-13 record through her first 26 games. It's Mallory Lamb near side. Going to try to keep it on the Lynchburg attacking half. Micah Uchis trying to work it ahead to Van Meter. Bounces off several players on both sides and rests with Kuhn for the moment. Stepping up to try and force it away again is Scholes, and she makes life difficult there on Danielle Kuhn. She will be whistled for the foul, but she has given some great defense through the first 3 quarters of this game. We're already down to just 6:14 to play in the third. 2 scores, 2 penalty corners on the day. After a day that we saw Lynchburg get off a a season-high 12 penalty corners as a group. They've only gotten 1. We got 5 minutes and change to go here in the third. hasn't mattered so far. Lynchburg looking for its third consecutive shutout as they hold a 2-0 advantage at the moment. Fontiel and Van Meter, the goal scorers. Some beautiful offense on the latter score. Assuming Boatwright's credited with that assist, it would be her 10th in her 4-year career. Majority of those, or quite a few of those, coming this season. Ball sent out of bounds along the goal line, stays with Lynchburg. Fontiel sweeps it across to Mazizi. Foul goes against Stevenson, and again Fontiel will try this thing again. This time swings near side, but it's Mallory Lamb. Lamb trying to get away from her defender, dribbles all the way around her, and then finally has it poked away. The neon green headband of Sarah Bisson has been active in this third quarter. Stops Lynchburg's momentum along the goal line. They again reset at the blue line. It's once again Fontiel, and once again she goes near side but misses the mark looking for Mallory Lamb, and that ends that Lynchburg possession. No shot for Lynchburg. Owns an 11-2 advantage on the day. Hornets have yet to be outshot by any of their opponents this season. That includes the loss against Ursinus. Hornets still pretty much did what they wanted to offensively. They just didn't necessarily result in scores. As I mentioned earlier, that's really all it comes down to. You get all the shots off that you want to in the world, but if none of them get past the goalkeeper, it doesn't really matter. Trying to work it backwards is Vendricks. Still looking for her first point of the day. She came into this game scoring in 5 straight, including her first multi-goal game of the season in that win against Center. She's had some beautiful goals on this stretch as well. She hasn't just been getting in the score sheet. She has been heard. Sydney Rowe tags in for Aaron Boatwright. Rowe played just one of the first 4 games. She's appeared in all 5 of the last 5. Now the Hornets will start to rotate some fresh legs. Also protecting this score. This one far from over. Both teams averaging over 3 goals per contest, so Stevenson has the firepower to get back in this game, but first piece of that's probably going to be getting Emma Gladstein a little more involved. They got the ball to her on a fast break opportunity early in the first quarter, but since then, relatively quiet has been the senior from Sykesville, Maryland. Right now it's Vendricks, Lynchburg's leading scorer with it, and it is taken away by Scholes. Great day defensively for Lauren Scholes, anchoring that Stevenson defense today, just a first year. She has been a force to be reckoned with. On cue, it's Gladstein, winds up a shot, releases, and it's kicked away by Brady, and then Cameron sends it out of bounds and forces Stevenson to reset back here at the blue stripe. Good awareness by Cameron. It was really just her and Brady down there giving defense. A little shove there. Mallory Lamb marking up Emma Gladstein close to the goal. That'll be a matchup to keep an eye on through the remainder of this game. Lynchburg in a man defense right now. Everybody just marking up opposing Stevenson player. Lamb, one of Lynchburg's premier defenders. She gets the toughest task, guarding Gladstein, who came into today 35 shots on the year. Led this Stevenson team pretty much in every category. 10 goals, 6 assists, 26 points, 35 shots. 29% shot percentage, 31 shots on goal, 88 percent shots on goal percentage. Yep, that's a perfect sweep of the offensive statistical numbers. It runs through her, and Lynchburg so far has largely taken her out of this game. But we will have a full quarter to go. We'll see what Lynchburg can do with the final 30 seconds here. So they extended the lead to 2 here in the third quarter. Clock's going to stop and probably reset. Oh, nope, no time added. Just stops, 28 seconds to go. Sydney Rowe has it in close. Goes back to Funtil. Her pass to Uchis, lining up a shot, maybe a cross. Had Vendrix inside, but the shot or pass, you make the call. Sending there a little bit too much heat. Couldn't be corralled. 9 seconds. Judging on what we've seen so far, don't imagine we will see Stevenson look to push things ahead, and they will just dribble out the remainder of the third quarter clock. And Lynchburg, again, extends the lead to 2, but we got a full quarter to play. Is there a comeback in store for Stevenson, or will Lynchburg pick up win number 6 in a row? Those are the questions to be answered when we return. You're watching Field Hockey on LHSN. Well, hey, if you're free on the weekend of October 20th through the 22nd, why don't you get on over to Lakeside Drive, check out all of the festivities on tap for this homecoming 2023 weekend. Started off on Friday at 2 p.m. Equestrian taking on Bridgewater, not too far away, Rustburg, Virginia. Then 7 p.m., come on over to Turner Gymnasium. We'll kick off a fun night in there with the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And then stick around, because at 11 p.m., Midnight Madness. You meet the basketball teams, enjoy performances by the dance teams, and a few other groups right there inside Turner Gymnasium. And then Saturday, October 21st, the action only continues. 9 a.m. Women's Lacrosse Alumni Game, 11 a.m. Men's Lacrosse Alumni Game, little doubleheader on Schellenberger Field there. If you got time, swing on over to the Liberty Natatorium. Swim taking on Mary Washington at 12:30. And then field hockey taking on Eastern Mennonite. That'll be 1:30. So really, I should say a triple header on Schellenberger Field. As we're going to go ahead and hold on with the rest of the read. Marlou Vendrix continues her hot streak. She has scored in 6 straight contests, her 25th career goal, unassisted, no helper needed. Vendrix does it all on her own. That is her 8th goal of the 2023 season. And another beauty. She goes between the legs of Vickery and goal. And it is now a 3-0 Lynchburg advantage with 14.5 to play. And boy, that one feels like a big goal in this game. Stevenson, in every game it is scored in this year, they've come out on top. 2 losses, they failed to score a point. Those were both 1-0 decisions. But the Lynchburg defense has held strong and given up just 3 shots on the day. All 3 have been on frame. So the efficiency numbers continuing for the Stevenson team, but Lynchburg again using that shot advantage to its overall advantage. It is a trifecta of goals from a trio of goal scorers. Just under 14 minutes to go. Gladstein rockets one. That almost looked like a frustration slap from the senior into the front field. That will be turned right back over to Lynchburg, who now can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. I'll tell you one thing, they're not going to take their foot off the gas by any means, but some of the pressure right now has now been taken off of this Lynchburg team. They can play pretty loose, pretty free, holding that 3-score advantage. But rest assured, especially defensively, keep an eye out. Lynchburg going to do its best to play keep away and keep this ball on the right side of the field. Looking for that 5th shutout of the season. 4 of them coming on what would be a 6-game win streak if this score holds. Micah Oot just trying to track that one down. It's poked out of bounds by Sarah Bisson. Continues to be active in this second half. It's Marlou Vendricks, the Week 4 ODAC Player of the Week. Continues this hot streak, the heater she has been on. Talked about how Gladstein leads her team in pretty much every offensive statistical category. Vendricks doesn't lead all of them, but leads quite a few. Boatwright's just behind her, if not taking the lead in a few others. Weinfordner sends this one back in. Battle for it, Mizizzi, Vendricks, Weinfordner all in there battling against Druk Miller. We saw her a lot in the first half. Haven't seen her a ton here in the second. Appears to be mostly starters in the game right now for Stevenson. This is that crucial point in the game. First things first, got to get out of your own end zone, for lack of a better term. Lynchburg going to do everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen. Schaefer trying to split a pair of defenders, now does. Whistled for the foul, she'll reset. Some shoving in close to the goal. Schaefer right now doing it herself and now has it taken away. Good defensive stop there. Looks like it's 27, Cassie Malice. Riley Cameron has it in the Lynchburg backfield, immediately rockets it back ahead. Males trying to send it back for Stevenson. Instead, it's Micah Uchis taking it for the Hornets. Sends a pass ahead, controlled by Van Meter, looking for her second goal of the game. She puts it over the head of the diving Vickery, and Lynchburg has opened up a 4-0 advantage. Olivia Van Meter, first multi-goal game of her career, has Lynchburg up 4-0, 10:58 to go on Schellenberger Field. The assist goes to Micah Uchis. And Lynchburg, don't blink, the Hornets stacking them together. It was a 1-0 score at the break. Lynchburg, probably a rousing speech from Coach Steele and the Lynchburg coaching staff. They've come out with their hair on fire here in the second half. Stuck 3 goals on the board. Now with 10.5 minutes to go, Stevenson up against it. Freeman with it on the near side. Tries to tightrope that near sideline. Looking to work it ahead to Brooke Highland. Goes out of bounds. Taken back in by Stevenson and Sarah Bisson and immediately turned back over. Mizizzi trying to corral it. Not going to give up on it, but good passing there. Finding Scholes on the outside. Stevenson trying to get out ahead of the Lynchburg midfield. Keep an eye there on Cameron especially. Weinfordner still kind of cheating up here, as is Muir, but Cameron for the most part staying behind the midfield line, or at least well behind where Emma Gladstein is. She stops about the B in Lynchburg. Freeman battling for it there on the near side, trying to get it to Mizizzi. Mizizzi going to try to dribble around. Good defense, anticipating her movement by Annie Ingersoll. Freeman has it right now. A turn, a twist. Ball dangerously in close. Vickery outside of the goal. And again, I failed to mention when Lynchburg got its second goal of the day. This is the first time all year Stevenson has surrendered more than 2 goals. They had given up only 6 on the year coming into today, and Lynchburg 4 on their own. And a 14-3 shot advantage, so what else can you say? Business as usual for this Lynchburg team. That's pretty much what we've seen throughout this win streak. Hornets team, a great mixture of young talent and veteran experience has come together to find their identity earlier in the season. It's given them a big boost. It's up to 17th in the polls and expect them to continue climbing. A massive matchup coming up on Saturday on the road. So the Hornets will battle for Hornet supremacy, taking on Shenandoah, pair of top 20 ODAC rivals. That one in Winchester will be a 1 p.m. start. It's early in the ODAC slate. It'll be Shenandoah's first conference game, Lynchburg's second, but that one's going to have some big implications on regular season championship and hosting privileges in the ODAC tournament. Don't even forget about the national implications, of course. Stevenson trying to grab some momentum on their attacking side of the field. Good stick skills dribbling around, and out of trouble there was Drew Miller. Ball goes out of bounds, reset up high. It'll be Leakway. Haven't called Leakway's name a whole lot today either, especially in the second half. She lines up a pass outside the semicircle. Foul goes against Stevenson. 7.5 minutes to go in this game. Mostly free-flowing offense, 1 penalty corner apiece. That's it. And Lynchburg, I mean, guess get you a team that can do both. On Sunday, scored 4 of their 5 goals, either from penalty corners or a penalty stroke. Today, they've scored all 4 in the natural flow of the game. So, they can score with the clock stopped. They can score with the clock rolling. This is a dangerous Lynchburg team on both sides of the ball, and they've been showcasing it as of late. Olivia Van Meter, the hero today, 2-goal performance. Renee Funtiel, as it stands right now, the game-winning goal. Stevenson gets on the board. That'll flip, and Van Meter will have the game winner as well. With 6.5 minutes to go, Lynchburg looking for shutout number 5. They picked one up as a group on Sunday. This one will go to Kayla Brady, who looks like is going to go the duration in the cage. She only played the first half against Center. Shai Skoons came in for the third quarter of that game, and then Samir Garavi made it a perfect 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter. It's the Lynchburg team combining for shutout number 4 on the year. Stevenson takes over in their own backfield, swinging it near side. It's a connection from Bisson to Anna Zadel. Zadel trying to get out ahead on some intended give-and-go action, but Drew Miller has the ball taken away. Weinfordner and Danielle Kuhn trying to do it again. Now Cameron trying to get between Emma Gladstein and the ball. She wasn't fully successful, but Gladstein whistled for the foul. Definitely see a little bit of frustration on her face. Lynchburg's defensive effort, clearly concentrated effort to try and take her out of the game as much as possible, and she's still inserted herself a couple of times. For the most part, Lynchburg and its defense holding strong today, and what is currently a 4-0 score with under 5 minutes to play. More fresh legs coming in for Lynchburg. Cameron again. Has not been pulled yet in this game. Schaefer stops, goes from her left to her right, feeds it inside. Brooke Highland trying to turn and shoot. Unable to do so. Defense given by Sarah Bisson. Appreciate that neon green headband. Easy to pick her out quickly. Cameron zips one in there. Excuse me, it was Aurora Balsamo. Nobody was there to receive it. Turns it right on back over to the Mustangs with 3:46 to play. So it looks like they are going to drop to 6-3 on the year. Hornets will improve to 8-1 for the second straight year. So they really start to lock into ODAC play. A couple more big non-conference games on the slate for Lynchburg. They'll take on Keene on the road. Keene just outside the national top 10. Got a non-conference game against Swarthmore as well. Those will be on back-to-back days, October 14th and 15th. Another Saturday-Sunday doubleheader for Lynchburg. But other than that, it is all conference action from here on out. The location going to flip from home to on the road mostly down the stretch here. 10 more games for this Lynchburg team, so sort of the halfway point at the conclusion of today's game. Officially, it would be halftime of the Shenandoah game. But only 3 of the final 10 games will be played at home. Those will be Virginia Wesleyan, Ferrum, and Eastern Mennonite. Lynchburg still got its longest road trip of the season ahead of itself. That is Keene, Swarthmore, and Roanoke back to back to back in the middle of October. Hornets will try to make it a 9-1 record in the month of September with a win over Shenandoah. But again, that's going to be a highly contested contest, and Lynchburg, just like it was against York and Ursinus, be tested with a very, very high-quality opponent ranked in the top 25. Each of those other 2 teams, York currently ranked in the top 10. Ursinus, when they played, was not, but is now ranked 15th, 2 spots ahead of Lynchburg. That was an Ursinus team that looked pretty darn good, so expect them to continue to rise. They have suffered a couple of losses, but a tough non-conference slate for the Bears. Balsamo loses her stick, getting tangled up there. They both lost their stick. Monica Druckmiller hits the turf. Stevenson maintains possession with 1:16 to go. What'll be win number 653, the legendary career of head coach Enza Steele. Trying to corral that pass up ahead was Lisanne Vanderwijs. Still battling is Stevenson here over the final minute, and that's what you want to see. This is a tough place to play, is Schellenberger Field. Not the largest crowd on early on a weekday afternoon. Stevenson, as we mentioned earlier, will have another opponent from the Commonwealth of Virginia on tap. It'll be Mary Washington, but that game will be played in Maryland this Saturday at 1 p.m. Lynchburg's gotten a chance to see Mary Washington already this year, played him to a 1-0 decision. That kick-started what will now be a 6-game win streak, so will be another battle there for Stevenson in that one. Schedule only gets harder for the Mustangs down the stretch, but we can put a bow on this one. Lynchburg, its 3rd straight shutout, its 5th of the year. Kayla Brady, the 14th shutout of her career, the 4th of this season. And Lynchburg will improve to 8-1 as they await the meat of ODAC play. So that will get going this Saturday against Shenandoah, a top 20 matchup. number 17 Lynchburg, number 19 Shenandoah. A whole host, big number of implications riding on that contest. We will sadly not have it for you here on LHSN, but we'll have live stats for you and a live video feed so you can certainly keep track, and we hope that should do. Lynchburg, for the second straight year, off to an 8-1 start as they finally see this extended stay in the Hill City come to a close. They made the most of it, 6-1 over that 7-game streak. We will go ahead and wrap up because it is a LHSN doubleheader today. Andrew Watson going to take the headset to take you through men's soccer against Bridgewater here coming up, I believe, at 7 p.m. Should be fantastic game. Men's soccer out to a historic start, best start since 2018 for Lynchburg and the men's soccer team respectively. So we'll go ahead and get you out of here so they can start prepping for that game. We'll go through our shout-outs today. Of course, Sports Information Director Tim LaDuca, Director of Digital Media Sam Rice, Director Josh today killing it behind me in the director's chair. I am Sam Graham. I want to tell you good afternoon, God bless, and go Berg. And until next time, we will see you later.